And we are live. We are live on our Radio Works Wellness, inspired by wellness. And I have here with me, I have the privilege of introducing you again, Rita Golubova from Chicago, and she is sharing her story. Wellness is not a chemical fix, it's a way of life, it's lifestyle choices, and is the way you respond to your gift, is the way you become responsible for the gift of life. Rita, welcome to the Radio Works. Tell us more about unleashing your passion, more about becoming the dream.
Hi, Marina, and once again, so I'm always honored to be on your radio, and it's always pleasure to talk to you because every time I talk to you, I learn something new, and the first and learn something new, not just about you or about life, but about myself too. So, and that makes so it's good to know that someone believes in you, and it's such a great feeling, to to understand that you're not alone, because I used to feel myself like we call it in Russia like a white crow, crow, like something like I'm not like everybody, so means I'm maybe not normal, or you know so once again, just like that feeling of staying out of the crowd was constantly with me. And maybe that's why, like when I worked at boarding school, what I was telling you, the story, I worked at the boarding school back like 30 years ago in Russia, with very difficult children who became after all like a great I mean, every child is great. I believe in children, and I know um, kids can be the best they can be. So there's no bad children. So there's bad parents, or so bad environment. But I remember myself being there, and I'm not a singer, just so you know. My voice is not that strong, and but I had a great training. I had the college, and I know how to teach. And I remember when I was emphasizing that everywhere, so that all the kids, like they just the best piece and balance inside and outside environment of any human. That time, obviously, and now I apply that more toward child soul, but I was talking about this all the time, that the singing, the music, like gives that balance between environment outside and inside of you. And and I've heard all these comments behind my back, especially like that. Oh, how come she's a music teacher? She even doesn't sing. And like, and I think that was I even did not get upset. I remember like myself, even that time, like I was thinking, why am I not I felt sorry for those people who were talking about me. And I think that is good that it always was, in my mind. So I did not destroy myself by all this horrible feelings what destroy our body too. So when we are frustrated, when we are upset, when we are jealous, all these crazy feelings pretty much destroy human being mostly. And but that was that time. So now, like, I would like to continue that, like, after my great experience in Park District, which was parallel with my journey in Montessori school. which is also came unpredictably. Like obviously I had a dream to work to work with the kids, but I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm like only 4 months in America. I don't speak English. I do teach a music program. That time it was not that big yet. But for my luck, my husband left to Russia. First of all, my husband did not want me to work. So to work, because I worked for such a little money on Saturdays at Park District that time. So he was saying, so for this money you can stay at home. But that's why, like, I had no even choice to look for a job. So he left to Russia for 1 month, and what the first thing after airport, he left to airport, what I did the next day, I went to look for a job. And I walked in. First, I walked in a daycare, and like once again, so that's a proof of when you are not desperate of something, you feel calm and of like getting that. You're not nervous about something like, oh, I really need to grab it, like with the jealousy inside of you, like, or like, with the greediness or what. So no, I want this. It will come your way much easier. And that's probably since I was not forced to work, but I just wanted that. I felt like that I need to be around people. Then it's always was happening to me. So I walked in my first job. Actually, my first thing was I walked in a store. I'm sorry. So I walked in a store because everyone was telling, this is where you have to work. You will be around the people. And that's what everybody goes like, so if you work in a store, then you learn, you learn faster because you will be around people. And I walked in a store, and they gave me application, and that is a Neiman Marcus, Neiman Marcus store in a big mall. So I walked in and I asked, and they gave me application, and I have to fill this out. And I even didn't know how to spell the word teacher. That was, I remember, the embarrassing thought. Like, I'm like, okay. So I filled it out, and and I marked just somehow like, so I was a teacher then, and I'm good with people. And I was accepted. Like next day, I was called for interview, and when I told that to my husband on the phone, hey, you know what? I'm already scheduled for interview. I'm gonna be working at the store, and so right away I've heard like, no, you're not going there. So I'm like, oh, okay. So if you go there, so no, and I like, that was rough conversation. So I never went to that interview. So then like, okay, if he doesn't want me to be around people in the store, so I guess he will like me to work with the kids, which I am good at, and the kids will not make him so upset that I'm around people. So that's how I walked in the first daycare in America. Like, I mean, in my first destination. So I walked in a daycare, and the same way I said like about my music program I'm doing at Park District, and I'm good with the children. And they said, yeah, we're ready to take you. And they right away said like, so apply, and your first day of work will be on Monday. And that was Wednesday when I applied. So Thursday, Friday, I had 2 more days the week, the end of the week, and I was passing not far away from my town home where we lived in Deerfield, and I'm passing on Wilmot, the small, like a house look like a just a residential house, and I see the sign school, Wilmot Montessori School. Obviously, I'm like walking in. Because I learned, like in college, I learned about Montessori education, and uh, I knew that it's Italian method of teaching that all the kids, that's what I knew. My very limited knowledge about Montessori that time was that it's multi-age classroom, which makes kids to become smarter because younger ones are copying older ones and older ones are teaching younger ones. That's how they improve themselves. And that's only the knowledge I knew, but I like that. I've never seen any Montessori schools in Russia. So I'm walking in, and with the same already memorized lines and a little better English, I'm talking to the owner of Montessori school. That I would like to, if they are looking for any help in their preschool, and she asked me again, so what's your experience and what you can do? And once again, I'm saying I can do anything with the children, so I'm good. Obviously, I have music. It was not like I'm talking now. It was very limiting, but like I mean, in my language. Uh, but she looked at me, smiled. She said, okay, so if you are playing piano, that's already great to be in a class. So they hire me. But to hire me, she explained, you're going to receive as assistant $7.50. That's the magic number again, what I started 4 months ago in Park District with. Um, and I'm like, that's fine, but what's my way? And she explains to me, I'm sorry, so she explains to me that if I pass or like go through the Montessori training, then I can become a directress of the classroom, but I have to go through training for 2 years. So 2 years of Montessori training at Midwest Montessori training in Evanston, that was in Illinois, where I lived. So that was my local training. And but that cost like some $7,000, which obviously I didn't have. So I said, I don't have this money to go to this training. And the owner looking at me and saying, I can give you the loan. So you can sign the loan and you will work. And if you pass these exams, like 2 years, you will be paying me back. So you become a directress, and then your salary can be $12 an hour. That time it was like a magic number. It was not bad for being in pre-work, being paid in preschool. It's right now is the same actually salary for the preschool teachers, unfortunately. So, but that's the amount of money like people paid. So, but I didn't care about money. And so I signed this. Obviously, I signed the contract, and like I said, of course, and that was, I was ready to be enrolled, and I started my great journey in Montessori, first being as a assistant with the Filipinas directress, very strict. She's right now my best friend, actually, so we became friends. But like my training to become assistant was great. Like I'll say like this, but there was a lot of work to do. So a lot of studying. So I was for 1 month like getting the lectures, and I wanted this, like, so I was like a sponge, like dry sponge thrown in the water, absorbing whatever was taught in psychology. And I knew everything, just I didn't know that in English. So for me, it was like listening over and over, and listening that in English and applying and translating by ear whatever I was trying to understand. But the bottom line, I ended working so I started, I think it was October. So by May, like I was passing those exams earlier than other people, but what it took, like we are talking about unleashing, like being, like doing whatever it takes, just, to go and get it, and uh, just do it, so not just listen and learn, but just apply that right away. So what I was doing, like I was working till 6, and to have the homework typed, and I was not a great typer, so we didn't have typing classes in Russia at all. We were using only pen or pencil, in writing. So what I did, I was staying after 6 till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. sometimes, like typing my homework, my exam essays, so preparing all my binders for the graduation. So, and that was every day except Saturday and Sunday. Uh, like pretty much I remember myself sleeping like, so 5 hours of sleep, it was good. 5 hours of sleep, that was like a great night for me. No, and after all, so then I graduated in May. So pretty much like 1 year earlier, 1 year and 2 months, I think it was earlier than like a limit, how long you can take for the exams. And became in May, I already was the directress in Montessori classroom. So being directress in Montessori, it's like a lead teacher. I was so happy about this, but there are new troubles were coming. So not trouble. So at the end of August, the new classrooms, the new school year starts, and I supposed to be in front of all the parents of my 30 kids, and talking about classroom, about material I will be presenting, about myself, who am I, about the Montessori, education. And that's when I freaked out completely, when it was like, so 2 days before we are organizing the classroom already started, and the first week of September, we have this parent meeting. And I'm freaking out completely. So I'm like, okay, and here's my assistant. Uh, Her name is Charlene, and she became a good friend of mine. And after all that time, she was assistant. She didn't have any bachelor degree, any degree. She was just my assistant in a class. And here I am with limited English, but with a bunch of different diplomas, So I brought to America 3 diplomas from Russia, and here's I had my fourth one in Montessori education, and again limiting myself, very tied up and afraid of speak up to people because of you know, thinking that, listen, I'm an immigrant, I don't know how to talk. And here I am, all my hands are shaking, and I'm like, oh, Charlene, you know, what I'm gonna do, like, if the parent tells me, what did you say? Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying. And Charlene, who is obviously, like, you know, so born in America, in Wisconsin, and she's laughing and she's looking at me and says, Margarita, this thought never was in my head. Why I understood you all the time. So you can just tell the parents. And that was mean to say, but she said, you just say, listen, if your child understands me, and obviously every kid was, you know, so loved me so much, so you will too. So, and but said that with a joke. I don't want to translate, I don't want to repeat that joke. But I laughed like so hard, and I think that what I leashed me within myself, you know, so I became relaxed. Then when parents came, so the first, you know, I obviously smiled, and I started tell them about my education. And then I learned that when I told them a little bit, I just mentioned that what education I had, and I showed them the material, and I gave them one word, like one sentence, which like popped up in my head that time, that, listen, in Montessori, we do not talk much, we use hands, because Montessori is the hands-on material, it hands-on presentation. So I use my hands instead of talking. I use my eyes, and I so and parents like, you know, so smiled, and everyone, like, it's you know, everyone warmed up toward me right away, and they said sure. And maybe because you know, so I was smiling once again. I keep smiling, I always smile even at my bedtime. So it went great, my meeting. So I started working, and since you know, so there were different situations in class. What one, like, I remember when like, first of all, most of people wealthy, because Montessori schools, I worked at the very prestige Montessori school, and it was in a very wealthy area, so people only with money were there. So they, you know, paid big money for education, they expected a lot, and they kind of felt they unfortunately that happens still, like, you know, when you know, parents feel they can tell you what to do because they pay big money, they will tell you what to do. So I had one parent who came at our first parent teacher individual, like meeting, parents teacher conference, adjustable conference. And the parent comes, and with a very you know, kind of like mean tone, I'll say like this, says to me, Margarita, why whenever I bring my children there, it's always so quiet in your classroom? Are they afraid of you, or what? Why is that? Are you making Russian soldiers there? And then you know, and once again, and I'm like, oh, okay, so no, excuse me, just like what happens. And I got out of this question pretty well, explaining to him, hey, first of all, you're coming a little bit late, And even when I'm asking you all the time, bring your child no later than 8:30 a.m., when I'm doing my presentations online, so kids can learn something new every day. So you are choosing to bring them when they wake up, when they feel like, or when you want to bring them, when it's more convenient for you, not better for them. And that's why they're walking in a classroom where everybody's busy already, everybody engaged in their like interesting activities, and so they have no even I mean, they don't want to be loud, they don't want to interrupt because they're busy. So if you start bringing them a little earlier, so you can see more live environment when they're adjusting, when before the line. And once again, so that gave me strength in myself to stand up against of some maybe Marina, you help me with that word. When someone is telling you or trying to push you on their opinion. Because what I learned like in life, like, and I'm telling the kids too in the class, just listen what I'm saying. So you can do whatever you want, but in here. So I kind of like give them a freedom, but in the boundaries. But I still like letting them to choose. So it's with a little trick of, and this is what should stay in, and it's probably stays in every human body and in every person's it's in every person knows, like, we don't like to do what we are told to do. We want to do that when it comes from within us. When we decided to do it, then we do it better. No what So that was my another like experience of stand up for myself and keep doing what I'm doing. So like working in a classroom was wonderful, but I had master's degree in music, so obviously I gradually started to bring the music in a class almost every day. Like, my line was mostly singing. So I started to teach children online with my method of teaching them with steps in music, so how to sing the tune and show where the melody goes. So I was using so singing, but there was no instrument. And I remember like asking and asking all the time, like the owner, if you allow me like, or if you help me to get the at least a keyboard in the classroom, I think it will be so a good tool for children to to have the classroom to have more material. And the teacher I'm sorry, the owner was saying, no, I cannot have the instrument in the class. That's going to be a like not for use for the kids. It can be just the use for yourself. And I am like, okay, so if I have the instrument in the class, I can do the music, I can do the music lesson. So then you don't have to, for my class, you don't have to pay your music teacher, because she did have the music teacher in school. No, and somehow, like, I in a year, so I've got the piano in the classroom. And that like it was obviously me were so happy, because I started to do singing you with using the instrument like every day. So my line became a very live line. And in Montessori classroom, live line is the time when kids get together, when they sit in a circle. It's like in daycare, it's called the circle time. So, and that's how, like, and I was using the piano, and that's when everybody noticed that at the end of the year, so I had my kids pretty much singing very well, but also I had my children, starting reading earlier than in other classrooms. And so academically, my kids were much better than the other kids. So, I mean, it's a good feeling. Right now, I'm like, when I'm looking back, it was a great time being in a big school and being noticed as like when like in the office manager was saying, oh, you know what, when kids were applied, when parents were filling out application, they were saying, who is that Russian teacher there who doesn't speak well English? So we want my kid in that classroom, and that was what is she doing? That was a good good feeling. So right now I kind of like, I think I miss it now. So because I have very small preschool, I have only 2 classrooms, and that's, again, I think it's my limiting belief that you can't amplify what I am doing, like with the music every day in a big school. And that's why, like, I always was thinking about small, cozy environment where I can put all myself out and do this, with the smaller school. You give more attention to every child. And now I'm changing my mind, so I'm thinking that's very limiting belief. I have to unleash that thought and start working on expanding my school to different locations. Because that's it's see, Marina, like while I'm talking, and it gets in my head something what I have to do. So
So perhaps it's something you have to be.
and it's, once again, it's like proving my thought that we have to constantly improve our capacity to add what, like, value, and then we can so then we can reap out all this, like, rewards we can receive from life. It just it just takes a big idea in your head, and then you have to just unleash yourself within yourself, like, so to be open on that. And I learned already that you have to prepare your mind to be ready to receive that greatness what you deserve. Because if you're not ready to receive it, it will not be given to you. And I think that's why, so I had this limitation in my life. What I don't know if I have time to talk about this. I just,
Of course you do.
like,
I really believe, Rita, that the potential for greatness is unlimited, and once it's unleashed, brings about the inner greatness each one of us holds. But the trick is not to underestimate the power of your dream when you dream awake, because you, as a person, you have so much greatness, and you could greatly influence the human spirit, the human progress, the human history. And each one of us got the same essence. It's just a matter of choosing to use that essence, to use that greatness or not.
That's absolutely, you already said that you can't disagree with this. You know, because that's absolutely true. You know, it should start in yourself. What I remember, I you know, I never was like, I was afraid to dream about something big, and like, I had see what my life, like, I worked at that prestige Montessori school. I amplified the music in the classroom, and since it just, because I became so busy, I worked. Look, I worked at as a directress in a classroom. I had 40 hours of being a preschool teacher. It's pretty much a teacher to 30 kids. Then I was a music teacher, piano teacher. If you remember, I worked at Park District on Fridays and Saturdays. Even later, when I broke my leg and the students started coming to my house. So this is how my life was 15 years ago, 15 years. So that's like 10 years, like 9.5 years working in Montessori school for someone else. So my schedule was 40 hours till 4 o'clock. I'm in preschool from 8 to 4 in Montessori school, driving half an hour home, and at 4:30, I'm coming to my door. The piano student is standing already. So, and I have 5 times a week, from 5:30 till 8:30, piano students. Then I see my children. I had a babysitter, obviously. You know, that's another topic of talking, how that limiting, you know, our life with our children when we work our passion all outside, you know, so not including our kids in that. Uh, so I see my kids only when they're sleeping in the morning when I'm leaving, and when they're sleeping already, going to bed at night, and Saturday also working. That's what gave me like I thought. So I became completely physically, like emotionally exhausted. So that's why I started to think about, like, maybe opening myself, like my own small home-based preschool, so I can see my children more. And that's how I've got my Montessori Music Academy, home-based Montessori school, so I could see my own children, at least when they're coming after school, you know, so I will be around them. That's how I've got my small first home-based school. Then, like, because I had no room to expand in my home-based school, I opened the other, again, small school, because I was thinking that it only works in a smaller environment. So so I had two small schools. Inside of myself, I was probably dreaming about the bigger environment, and that's how I got approached by two investors, good friends of my husband, who had some money. They didn't know where to put it, and that's like, once again, I want to prevent, like, I mean, I will tell you this story, but it's not like a dream come true. It's a dream come true, but when you're not ready, it, you know, it can vanish so quickly too. So what happened with me, like, here two investors approaching me like, oh, Margarita, you work so hard, you have two small preschools, we can why don't we build you know, get the big building, and we will be partners, and we will all like open one big school. What do you think? Every person who has inside that dream like agrees to this, and here I am, honest and great teacher, and with a great dream. Of course, I'm agreeing to this. I'm like, yes, of course. But so, and we started that big project. It was 5 years ago, like when we started this, and in 8 months they remodeled the building. I'm, you know, I love what I do. I was great with what I'm doing, and I was putting too much heart in that, but I was not putting my head in this, thinking about the legal business organization, leaving that part outside and trusting completely, you know, then their friends. And here's my husband, who is their friend. They are dealing the material part, and I'm doing my, you know, my soul, my knowledge part. And this is what happened to me. Like, we are opening the big, in a state of art like building, they remodel, and they're not letting me to tell them what to do in the classroom, what will be acceptable for the class, because they were telling me right away, Margarita, your job to teach, we are contractors, we will be doing the construction part, we know better. So kind of I was eliminated from that process, and which is, that's like, I mean, that's another long conversation about how the classroom, how the building should be structured for those people who really will want to, who will want to open the school. I can, you know, give them a great ideas. That's, you know, that will be a different subject. But hear me feeling unleashed and happy about opening something what I dreamed about. So I'm closing my small preschools. I mean, because the new building was very close to my small preschools, and moving all my children to that school. We have a great grand opening with the starting with the piano playing me, and my first student, my first Montessori student from my own Montessori Music Academy, who started playing when he was 3, and that time he was already 10. So we are playing, we are starting the great grand opening. And the place is called Montessori and Music Center. And we start. And then like, I'm being a music, I'm being a substitute directress. And what happened, so that the owners, the investors who were supposed to be silent investors, suddenly become not silent, sitting in the office and ruling the school how they feel it. So here I am facing two men contractors, not educators, telling me what to do, and I supposed to, educate them and answer all the crazy questions. Why I need this special table to wash, for child to do scrubbing, and why it's important for the child to have this, just like little cups pouring drying material or the water. All the Montessori professional questions, I have to educate them, and they don't want to learn even. So what happens? And then suddenly, like I understand that it's like a ground splits under your feet, that you are not at the place where you're supposed to be. You are delivering, you're trying to deliver to parents your love of learning, and here's the fake. On I mean, I'm not doing what I supposed to be doing. So there's like some not professionals are putting all kind of crazy limitations in the educational process, so which became like heartbreaking for myself. And what they do, since I'm stubborn and I'm strong-willed and I feel unleashed and I feel like nothing is stopping me, I'm unstoppable, in my dream. So they're saying, you know what, dreamer, you're out of company. So there's two of them and I myself. So, and they kick me out. And here I am staying with nothing left. Like I had the business and I don't have it. And they so they say, hey, here, we're gonna hire someone else, some director or whoever, and we're gonna tell him what or her what to do, and that way we will have more money. Their desire was, first of all, for them it was money wise, so two partners or three partners is different, and and whatever we are doing, parents doesn't have to know everything. So I mean, it was bad, I'll say like this. But once again, so what happened to me, and that's what happened 3 years ago. In like one day, I had the dream, what I thought came true, and it was gone in one day. So I'm out of business. Under this, I'm divorcing my husband. I have no money to pay. At that time, I had 5 houses. It's my husband right now, his ex, but that time, like he realized that, so my 2 small preschools were making enough money to pay mortgages for many houses. And that was, remember that time, it was 2001, 2004, yeah, so when everybody was buying the places. So that's how I ended with having my preschool site, which was home based. Then I moved out of that preschool site. I had the place where we lived. So we had the other site, where was my other small school. I was paying then, since there was some little money left. My ex right away, my that time husband right away realized we can split another 2,000 paying for the Florida, and then he bought for himself and having the Michigan place, which was supposed to be a camp for my future kids. That's what I was told, and that's why I was working myself out, like making like all this money, paying all these mortgages. But when my dream started to vanish and started to fall, so what happened, I was kicked out of the business. I have no money to pay, so obviously I've got very uh, upset. I mean, it's not upset. I've got depressed, which, like I usually, I used to say, there's no depression when you are busy, when you do what you love. But that time of my life, it was I know now I know what is depression. So when everything, you lost everything. So here I am staying in one foreclosure house because the other ones, like, so I'm out because I also right away filed for divorce with my husband because that was his friends. It was the marriage became, very unpleasant. I'll say like this: the marriage was unpleasant. Everything was falling apart. I'm 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. So I lost my dream, and I'm sitting in my foreclosure house, which I supposed to be moving somewhere. Have to find a place, and I don't know how I'm gonna make my money. My grand piano is standing by the wall, with no legs. That's the only one thing from my marriage what left me, what I refused to sell. And I'm thinking what I'm gonna do. And here, this is what another thing, like I think God sends us. So I was not ready, I think, that time for the big dream, because that big dream was led by not professionals, not good people in my life who I was supposed to lose. But I I understand now, we meet people for a reason in life. And every person sent to us by higher, whatever, God or whatever we believe in, as a teacher. And I think I was supposed to go through that just to become stronger. It's, once again, it's like what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So I was not killed at that time of my life. And I found the solution. And here's like what the solution is. I'm going to a temple and asking for rent. Just give me the place for rent, so give me just one classroom so I can open the preschool there. And that happened to be a Jewish temple, and they're not looking for any, but the location, I needed to stay at the location where people know me. So the temple gives me absolutely outrageous rent, 3,500 for the two very small rooms. I still at that place, and I survived. That's what, once again, it proves when you want something, it will happen. And I just have no choice but to accept this. Even the lawyer, like, who was checking my contract, says, "You are crazy. you may not agree for this amount. You never ever will be able to survive financially in this with this big rent. So I, like, I'm not letting you to sign this, but I have no choice. If I don't sign that right now, so and I have no other room, and I don't know where I'm gonna live. I even won't be able to have the homeschool. So what am I? I'm just signing. I'm just signing this, and I start working on that classroom. The only good benefit I had in that was a brand new building. It was a good building. It was clean. It didn't need any remodeling and any expense. Just so you know, all my material from 2 schools was kept at that business. What the partners took from me, the only what I could take from them is I took 30,000. I said, give me the settlement or I went to to court. So give me the settlement and I walk away. And that was the absolutely misery money. It's like a so little amount for my year of life working there, and my material cost more. And I just took my piano. So what I kept, I had one piano when I was moving from my locations, what were foreclosure before. So I moved one piano to my mom's house. One piano was staying at my present house, which I was supposed to move in a month. And I had one, and my grand piano was staying by the wall, in my living room. And one piano I brought to that new dream school with the partners. So they gave me back. I said, just give me my piano back. I'm like maybe idiot at that time, but I was holding. I felt like, so those instruments. This is like my security blanket, for the child. So that's something what like I just have. So what I had at that time, 2 pianos and the grand piano and electric piano, nothing else. 30,000 what I did not give to my husband. That's why he's got so upset, and he's got upset. I filed for divorce. He was trying. So that's all. Like, my relationship was over. My business was over. But I had those 4 instruments, in my possession, and 30,000. And that's how, like, I walked in this temple where I have my Vernon Hills Montessori right now, with people who even didn't want me there. They were just agreeing to accept me because I was agreed to pay this humongous amount of money for, to them. And that's how I had my Vernon Hills Montessori opened. And here's what happened. So I opened just one classroom with 8 children who, when I called those parents, just told them that I am, I have my new preschool opening at that time. And are you willing to, to join the preschool? And those parents even didn't know I'm out of business already there. The kids were still at the old business because, so my partners even didn't tell parents that I'm out. So just keeping, so that going. I'm not going to continue about that past school. But I opened with 8 children 3 years ago, my preschool, and now I have 30, and the capacity is there 30. And my belief, like that, I have to have the small school to have the program successful, was sitting in my head. Not anymore, Marina, because so I'm unleashing myself right now with the thought that I have to expand. I don't know where I'm going to get the money for expand, but I know it's going to happen now. So I know it will come. So
It is, Rita, your desire to win, is your desire to give more, to be more, and the urge to fulfill your life purpose. So it's not about the how you are going to achieve what you are achieving, is the wow you bring in other people's life, and wow, what a life you have yourself. And I have so much respect for you, for the way you just don't want to give in, the way you refuse to give in because you are aware of your gift, of your natural gift, of your God-given gift, and you take full responsibility for that. And for that, you are one of the rare people I have going to be eternally grateful for walking into my life. It is um, human nature to compete against each other, and yet you only compete against yourself. And that's unleashing your own greatness, your inner greatness. I'm so blessed to know you, Rita. Thank you.
thank you so much. And once again, so I just want to finalize today that being unleashed inside yourself, it's not like meaning unleash your inner, not like chaos, unleash like to be in chaos. Yeah, chaos. I still pronounce the words not right, but being unleashed gives you power. And then so all what you want, like all your wealth or whatever, it begins and ends in the mind yourself, like in your mind, in the mind. So unleash your desire, unleash your inner, greatness, unleash all your beliefs, what you want to believe in, and then it happens. And I truly, truly believe in this right now. Since what, like, see, Marina, you made me to overthink my worst time in my life. And right now, my great time in my every day is a great day for me right now. Even I'm not where I want to be, but I know I will be where I want to be. So, and I'm happy to share my path, my way of improving myself and improving the life around myself. And I'm glad that you're going to be a witness of that too, so that I can share myself.
Each day, Rita, people all around us, they have a choice, including ourselves, to settle for less than they deserve or go all in and turn that dream into reality. It's always to do with adding life to your days or adding days to your life. And as a human being, I understand that each time I wake up, I have the chance to make a difference in somebody else's life. And it is my choice to deliver, to create and deliver value. And what you are doing, Rita, is just beyond amazing, because you are working with um, pure souls of children. And they have a great mentor in you, not only a piano teacher. They have a great friend in you. And I know you have students coming to you after 20 years and they want you to teach their children now. And how beautiful is that? Life is short, but you made it so beautifully amazing and is a journey. And I can't wait to see where your journey takes you. But I know you already walked into serendipity. I know that what is awaiting for you is beyond priceless. Thank you so much for today, Rita, and I can't wait to listen to the rest of the story.
Thank you.
For both of us, from now is good night. And for some of you, perhaps it's good morning, or for some of you, perhaps it's good afternoon. Be happy and stay connected. Goodbye.
Goodbye.